So hi everybody, and welcome to this other video. This is another of my conversion kit that I'm preparing over some Porsches that have been a little bit neglected by the modeling world. This specific car is a Porsche 961, but in the 1987 body. 1961 Porsche was a kind of prototype that was racing in Le Mans series in 1986 and 1987 under the GTX series. Was a kind of whatever category, was a kind of evolution from the aborted Group S, coming from the rally stuff. The Group S was a platform series that was performing kind of supercars involving the real big ones, so Ferrari, Porsches and so on, Jaguar. And this was the last evolution of 951, the rally car, the Group B made by Porsche, the Paris-Dakar. And this was the last evolution they did in 1987. Tamiya did back in time a kind of, I think it was a tamtech slot, something like that, a slot version of this Porsche 961, and I decided to produce the last evolution models. I'm so much after a wide body car and the evolution version of the car, so this was the final version as it raced in 1987. And you can immediately recognize the big difference in mostly all the body shell that became much wider in the front axle, in the rear axle, and basically all the car became much wider. So the difference from the original body that you will find will be nearly everything. So I think that I will produce very soon this part like a conversion kit, my typical conversion kit, where I provide you just the body and the parts where you cannot go by yourself. And my decision was also to cast basically the central part of the body like to be in common with the ordinary 961, as in the way that probably everybody of us already collected this 1961, that is basically this stupid model. This is the part that you will not find in my model. I just updated a little bit, adapted to the new wheels, but it's basically what you will have in the original Tamiya donor car. What was not in common with Tamiya and was not possible to obtain from Tamiya, I had to remake the wheels, that is a 3D pattern, a 3D tire, because the 1987 version featured 17-inch wheels, and also the wheel arch inside the body was completely different and much wider. You see immediately from the picture of the car. This model raced in the qualify of Le Mans 1987, also with the BBS sprocket wheel. It was nicer than that, but I prefer to make this version because this was the original version that made the race of Le Mans 1987. We have to say that because of a failure during the race, technically they say that it was a mistake of the pilot. I don't know if it was Claude Aldi. Was 3 pilots, racing this car during the 24 hours. It seems that they made a mistake in the gear shifting, and during the mistake, the motor had an overload of rumper miles, and everything broke up, taking fire. There is an ugly video if you Google for 1987 Porsche 961 crash, and you see exactly what happened. So the car took completely fire and had been completely destroyed. There is an ugly picture of the car. Thanks God nothing happens to the pilot because they were able to understand that something was wrong, but all the rear edge of this prototype was completely devastated by fire. Then they refurbished the car, and now it's currently in a museum. This was a single model car that existed only. It was anyway, I think, an evolution of the 86 previous model, the Tamiya box, to have an idea. And this was in much different, so also the body here, I will probably leave this part, as you can see here, opened. Then I will close with some tape for casting purpose, and with the referring point of the lines when you have to place the too long line of the air intakes here. This was the air intakes for the big radiators here, or the rear edge of the car come off, so it was just something made, I think, in fiberglass, neither carbon fiber, as well as you can see here this part. This is the front light. There is no front lights at all in the original Tamiya body, so I provide to you this part that is the nacelle of the lamp, with the proper lamp inside, with the light and the bulb, and you just have to that's why I didn't place it inside the model to save one part less, but it's no problem, you know. You just have to find a proper headlamp to fit in the front hole here. That's why I leave the body this way, because I think it's much more easy to take a shape from inside and from outside, so you don't have inside the part of the complete lamp that can be maybe a problem, you know, to be fitted. The same for the transparent parts. In this model I made a very careful work of unplugging the original glasses from the body, you know, the upper part. This roof is exactly the tamiya part. Of the rest of the body, no. So I just saved this part and this front part, but all the rest is completely rebuilt. The same side skirt here, the same air intakes, different in different shape, all the rear part, the wing that I placed separately for even this for casting purpose. And remember that they had a step there, so it is just full of picture, you know, to see how it ends. I think it's extremely interesting model, you know, as well as I will provide, still not present in 1986 model from Tamiya. The model from Tamiya was not a classical Tamiya model as we are used to mean, you know, so well detailed. It was exactly a toy coming from the 80s, so you don't have nothing. You see, that was the original part from Tamiya. Also the part from the original Thab is completely a joke, you know, so the roll cage is a joke, so the car was not made this way. But I will not provide an entire kit, because otherwise we go simply pushing too much on the final price of the item. So I don't want to make it so complicated. I just want, also because I think that any kind of model can obtain this part of detail simply, maybe also just detailing a part coming from an ordinary 911, because I will provide also, as I said, the wheel that were different on this model, and the air intake that go in the rear air intake down there, under there. So I will provide you this part also included, as well as the mirrors. You know, I created that two drops mirror that were sitting there in the side of the windshield, on the side window, sorry. Just remember that in this model, because it was just resembling the line of a 911, but it was not derivated by a 911, it was a complete prototype. The glasses were at the same level of the rest of the body. So if you look carefully at the picture, this is not the classical and conventional 911 with the rubber guarnition here and the metal guarnition over there and on the rear hatch, but this was completely in Lexan, exactly in the way of a prototype, to optimize as much as possible the aerodynamic coefficient of the car. So you have to work a little bit more over this area if you want, because anyway I mean it like a conversion for the 961. You can make it carefully. It's not this hard work. You just have to find a point in a little hole and then work with a little or a wire or a little blade just working from inside, just to cut away the windshield. Or simply you can work over an ordinary 911 windshield, keeping it flat depending what the kind of model you are working with. Several of them don't have the side guarnition around, so it's much more easy to work. And these are basically flat windows, so I think it's quite easy to fix them and to have a decent final effect. I will not provide any decal because there is already 3-4 companies making the decal for this car, because back in time they were meant to be used as a fake model over the 1986 version, because there was absolutely nobody providing a body like this in 1/24 scale. And so you're finding, I think, from Shunko Museum Collection, there is several slot racer also do that. I think also Slot Fabric does. So make a little research, but it's enough that you search for the Rotmans vehicle. This was the very aggressive Rotmans livery, so blue, white, red and gold livery from the Rotman Racing, typical. It's a flagship livery from the 80s. So that's it. I will go in production, I think, in a couple of days, and follow my social media to understand when it is available. I think the price is exactly in the same range of all my other conversions, you know, just the resin parts and so on. It will be just this part. Forget to mention also, in the kit will be included also this curved air intake for the twin turbos over the rear part of the hatch. So we will find two of this one. I made a master for one, choosing which was the best that I could cast by my hands, and it was really this way, so you don't have the net over that. It was really this way, with a quite like kind of sponge from a microphone, something like that, completely black over that side part, so it sits down there. and under this type of wing hover, you know. I hope that I can place it in the proper position. Something like that, something like that. You understand that I cannot cast a complete part that way because it will be a mess and hell to cast the parts under there, so you will be lacking of details. So I think it's much better to make everything divided. You will have 3 pieces more, but I think will be much more cleaner mold of the body. And this is a body that, in my opinion, is really well done. Minor detail like the handles and so on, you have to fix by your own with donor kits. You know, if you are looking this video, you are interested in this type of Porsches, you already know what I mean. And that's it, guys. Let me know what you think about this interesting car, and stay tuned and look for other videos where the final production will be arrived. As usual, when I do a new item, I will make the presentation of the master, that is this indeed, as well as the presentation of the kit that will come, as well as all the building up of one model that I will use to show up my production, plus a final music video showing the entire journey of the production. But it's a car that I really love, and for me was one of the nicest that ever raced of the series 959 to 961. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.